What?
What?
What the hell is this?
Harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that guy.
Give the governor harumph.
Harumph!
You watch your ass.
I see you shiver with anticipation.
Let the show begin.
Hey everybody, this is David Heretic coming at you with another edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. And tonight, alright, we're coming back to MUCC. Yes, indeed, MUCC Fans Feeling You. Come on now. Here we go. Before we go any further, for those of you who are feeling inclined to doing all the clicks and the likes and the bibbity-boobity bop, do me a favor, before you do all that stuff, please watch the whole video first, okay? Give me a chance to actually earn those clicks and likes. Now, after the video's done, if you still feel like doing all those clicks and likes, then by all means, feel free to click away. This comes as a request from Krauser, and Krauser wanted to see me react to this song by MUCC called Ware Arubeki Basho. Now, have I heard this song before? No, I have not. To the best of my knowledge, this does not resonate with me in any way, shape, or form. However, there's always a possibility I may have heard this song in passing and I just don't realize it. So as always, if I start listening to the song and I suddenly go, wait a second, I recognize this song, I'll let you know.
That's the truth.
You know me, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's see, this was posted by Akinezarut69, okay? And the video has 199,000 views. It'll get you there. Other than that, there's really nothing else left to say. Link to the original video will be down below in the video description for your viewing pleasure at your leisure. Let's get started. What do you say? Are you ready? Are you ready? Because here we go. All right, here we go. MUCC. I think that's a translation there. Ware Arubeki Basho, live at Makahari Messe. Cool. All right, let's do this.
All right, boy, let's do this.
Dissonance. Oof, boy. The dissonance is definitely, when it comes in, when the dissonance comes in, boy, it comes in like a sledgehammer. It just cracks you right on top of the head. And it sticks around. It does stick around for a while. Not always the biggest fan of pure dissonance, just for the sake of being dissonant. I've never really been the biggest fan of that. Now, the good news is it does resolve after a while, but it stays dissonant for quite a bit, creating that sense of unease, creating that uncomfortable feeling. And they do a fine job of it. They absolutely do. I'm just not the biggest fan of it, personally, but it is what it is. The riff is nice, utilizing the 1 in the chorus, utilizing the 1 down to the 6 to the 4 to the 5 to resolve back to the root again, down to the 6, down to the 4, up to the 5. I like that riff. That's a nice riff. Not the most common riff that you'll hear in hard rock and metal. It's nice to hear something a little different. It's good. I mean, I've heard other bands do it, but it's not as common as like the old Z pattern, 1 to the 6 to the 3 to the 7. It's not that Z pattern. Da, 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 da. It's not that. It's a little different. I like it. Drumming sounds good. I like the cymbal color. I'm not usually the biggest fan of cymbals, but he's really doing a fine job of creating a nice ambiance and creating some really nice color, utilizing at times cymbals only. And it's not easy to do that. Not in a tasteful way. I've seen drummers try and fail miserably to try and create an atmosphere and an ambiance and create those little splashes of color with their cymbals. And they just don't get it. They're about as subtle as an atomic bomb. But at the same time, you have drummers like this who do understand that grasp. And sometimes it's not what you play, it's what you don't play. And when you do play, how you play it, how you approach it. I like his approach. I really do. Guitar playing sounds good. Bass playing sounds good. Vocally, a little more on the subdued side, but there are times like in the chorus where he does bring it up a bit, and I couldn't help but notice that sounded really, really nice. Yeah, overall, I really have no problem with the song. Even the dissonance, I may not necessarily be the biggest fan of it, but I get it. I see the reasoning behind it. And they don't overstay their welcome on it. So I'm happy about that. Oh wow, we're almost done here. Let's finish this up and we'll get to the review. Speaking of dissonance, have time. Okay. Yeah. Really, I don't have any complaints. I really don't. It pretty much is pretty cut and dry. So we're probably gonna have a pretty cut and dry review. Let me get my thoughts together. Let me sure I didn't miss anything, and I'll see you in the review, and we'll talk about it. Well, there you go, folks. That was MUCC with Ware Arubeki Basho. This was a request from Krauser. I know, I'm probably absolutely butchering that title, but I'm doing the best I can here, folks. There's honestly not a lot to talk about that I didn't talk about during the course of the reaction, so I'm gonna hit some bonus points. We're gonna have a pretty short review here, I have a feeling. Let's get started with the score and we'll go from there. We'll see how it goes. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give that overall presentation a 7.8. Yep, 7.8. I feel good about that score. Let me tell you why.
Why?
Okay. First things first, a 7.8. What does that mean? Well, a 7.8 would translate to a really good skill rating because overall, I think this was a really nice job. It would also get 4 to 5 stars and a B+ letter grade. So there you go. A 7.8, really good skill rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Now, how did I come up with that score? So glad you asked. The song felt good. Okay, listen. I know everybody's wondering about the dissonance, so let's just get the dissonance out of the way. Personally, not the biggest fan of dissonance. I've said that many times on the channel. I'm not the biggest fan of it, especially if it's just dissonance for the sake of being dissonant, which to some extent this was. But here's the thing. It wasn't done for too long. It was done in very specific points. It was all designed the way it was designed to have the most impact that it could have and to create those feelings and that atmosphere of discomfort and being able to put the listener into a state of unease. The thing is, it didn't stick around for very long. It came in, it did what it needed to do, and then it got out of the way to be resolved through the main the main chordal progression, which makes perfect sense. It really does. May not always be the biggest fan of it, but I get it. I absolutely get it. And I'm not taking anything away from it. Musicianship across the board, everybody sounded like they did a fine job, okay? I didn't hear anything that stuck out like a sore thumb from a musicianship standpoint. Guitar was solid work, bass was solid work. The vocals were solid work for the most part. There were a couple of times where, in the chorus where I could kind of feel my eyebrows going up a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, listen to him. Moving around, getting up there on the range. Nice, good for him. If I'm being honest, the highlight of the song for me was the drumming. Some really nice drumming, in particular the cymbal work. Now, like I've said in the past, I'm not always the biggest fan of cymbal work. Cymbals to me can be very easily overdone, and the cymbals can very easily overshadow what's really happening within the drums, because sometimes drummers just rely on cymbals way too much. And that was not the case here. I appreciate the cymbal work in this song. As a matter of fact, I applaud it, especially the places where it was just cymbals. And he was utilizing the cymbals to create an atmosphere and an ambiance. And those little splashes of color. It's subtle. It's very subtle, and not every drummer can pull it off. He can. And it sounded really nice. It really helped, especially in the beginning. It really helped kind of set the mood and tone for the entire song. So, nice job on the drummer there. As far as the live show goes, It looked good. I'm going to be honest with you. It did look good. I really don't have any complaints about the last show, but at the same time, I'm also not going to sit here and say I was blown away by it. It did help a little. We're literally talking about maybe 0.2, okay? A 0.2 difference. The stage presence was there without question. In the comments and other reactions I've done to MUCC, it just seems to me like the fan base really can't agree on what kind of a band they are. I saw new metal in the comments mentioned. I've seen Japanese metal mentioned in the comments. I've seen visual kai mentioned in the comments, but nobody can seem to agree on how they would, for lack of a better word, how they would classify this band. Like, what kind of a band is MUCC? Nobody can seem to agree. Everybody seems to have, differences of opinion as to what they are. But I will say, however you want to classify them, visually, from a visual standpoint, they definitely got the stage presence without question. They don't look like roadies. They look like performers, and I appreciate that. Stage energy, it was there, absolutely. The guitar player and the bass player are moving around stage quite a bit. Vocalist was moving around on stage. I don't think the vocalist was moving as much as the guitar player and the bass player, but, and here's the key thing, because I went off on the lead vocalist on the last reaction I just did. But I know a lot of people are going, why aren't you going off on him? Because when he did move, he moved with purpose. Everything he did was 100%. He was not casual in anything he did. Even when he was moving subtly, it was because the song was being subtle. It came down, and as a result, his movements and motions came down with it. It wasn't done in a fashion that seemed lazy or uncaring or with zero or with little purpose. Everything he did had purpose, even the subtle movements, because the song came down to be more subtle. So I'm not upset about it. I'm not upset about it whatsoever. Everything he did made sense. Let's see, moving on to the next thing. Stage interaction. Did anybody interact with each other? No, I didn't see any stage interaction, unfortunately. But I did see some crowd interaction. Not a ton of it, but there were spots within the song where he did interact with the crowd, motioning to the crowd, pointing out to the crowd. And it wasn't just him. I saw the bass player and the guitar player doing it as well on occasion. So I am going to give it the check, absolutely. Not the strongest check in the world, but it's getting a check nonetheless. Showmanship, yep, I'm going to give it the check, absolutely. They did put on a good visual show, everybody on stage. Production, yeah, I'm going to give it the check. It looked like the light show was designed to go with the song. So I'll absolutely give it that. I love his Eagle block setup. He's got like that half hexagon thing going. He's got the one block right square in front of him and then two wings offset going backwards. But it's like a half a hexagon. I like that. I hope he utilizes all of it. If all he does is get up on the center, it's like, well, what's the point, But it does look well designed, so that was cool. Now look, overall, I think it was a really good presentation between the song and the visual aspect of the performance. I got no complaints, really. So yeah, a 7.8 feels good to me, and that's where we're going to stay. So let's wrap everything up here in a nice shiny bow, shall we? We have a 7.8, which is a really good scale rating, 4 to 5 stars, and a B+ letter grade. Take your pick, I don't care, whichever one of those floats your boat. Final word, final score, I have spoken. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Reactions, Reviews, and Rants. Hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope I was able to entertain you. If I was able to put a smile on your face and brighten your day, I did my job, and I'm so glad I could do it. If you guys feel like joining the fan base, go ahead and click on that button down there. If you guys want to like the video, go ahead and like the video. If you guys want to ring the bell, go ahead and ring the bell. It honestly doesn't make any difference at all to me, but if you guys feel like doing these things, well, then by all means, feel free to do so. Well, that's going to do it for tonight, folks. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, this is David Heretic signing off, reminding you to stay fabulous and support each other. Later. Peace.